The issue is one of free speech, what the Constitution actually says about free speech, instigating an event that puts the lives of innocents in danger, being certain that terrorists of any stripe don't win because they can, and balancing everything so the message coming across is not one of tit for tat and hate for hate. The media element here focusing on the recent event in Garland, Texas, the Muhammed cartoon competition, and the criticism being leveled at the organizers. Our guest is the media columnist for the Washington Post, whose recent article is entitled "The Week That Cable News Failed Free Expression." Welcome Erik Wemple to the Hardline. Erik, thanks for being here.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it very much.
Pleasure. Erik, let's go ahead and start out then with a little sound, if you will, from some of those who have been knocking away at Pamela Geller here in the last couple of days. Listen up.
If we want to have a serious conversation here about Miss Geller, that she's like a pyromaniac who goes before the judge and says, oh yeah, I was setting those fires just to see how fast the fire department could respond.
You know another thing that's horrific, Pamela Geller? Intentionally putting innocent unarmed security guards in danger so you can make some bull free speech argument.
So, Erik, how do we then balance a lot of this out? Because let's put it this way, a lot of this criticism was not all agenda-driven, but some of it did have an element of truth in it.
Are you talking about the criticism of Ms. Geller and her?
Yes, absolutely.
Well, you know, I think that there's a question about preparation. I think that we do know that there are risks involved in running an event like this. And so clearly, and I believe Ms. Geller herself has said this, she prepared well and, you know, there was a lot of security, but that doesn't mean that she is responsible for any violence that comes to the event. I think that's where I draw the line here. Because I don't think that she was responsible for the reaction, for the violent reaction of people to what is ultimately a cartoon contest. And most of us, I think, agree that a cartoon contest is not something that should provoke violence.
Is it not fair to say, though, that certainly from the media aspect, and there's a couple of people here who ask questions that are honest journalists, and there are some who are comedians, like, of course, on the Comedy Central channel and others as well. Is it not fair to say that there's really nothing wrong with questioning their motives, at least asking them to explain it? You can take the tack and you can go after them, but you should be able to at least ask them why you did it, correct?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think that that's a really good question and a very good neighborhood of inquiry because, you know, Pamela Geller is this public figure. She does have these organizations. She does organize these events, and she should be, you know, she should be presented with challenging questions. In those questions and the sound that you played for me, the problem that I think that I have with them is there's this undercurrent that she is somehow responsible for the violence, and that, you know, judging. I don't think I want to get in the business of judging whether she went about exercising her speech properly. There was one encounter that she had with a Fox News host who said, I'm not so sure you went about this the right way. When you start judging the right way that people express themselves, I think we're heading down a very dangerous path, which is validating some free speech as legitimate and invalidating other speech as legitimate. And so I think that I think there's a problem there. And as long as the speech is protected, in other words, as long as it's not, say, libelous, or not, as long as it's not inciting people, then I think that we ought to be value neutral about those things, if you understand what I'm saying.
Absolutely understand. 20 seconds left. Do you think that there was any incitement here at all from Pamela Geller's organization?
Well, I think that people want to say that she was provocative. And that is the term we keep hearing. Oh, she was intentionally provocative. Well, you as a TV host and me as a writer, we all try to be provocative. That's why we're in this business.
That's our job.
They're right. And so I don't think that I don't think she should be hammered for being provocative. I can't get in her head and figure out whether she was trying to incite, and that's not my job.
But at least get them to answer the questions. Sometimes they don't want to, but that's what we want. We at least want answers. Erik Wemple, pleasure to have you on the show, my friend. Keep up the good work. I'll look forward to talking to you again.
Awesome.
All right, my pleasure. Thanks. And indeed, that is the whole point here. Not necessarily freedom of speech, but if somebody asks you a question, maybe you should just answer it instead of putting forth rhetoric. Gee, what a great idea. Rock on, true believers. Thanks so much for joining us. Back Tuesday, right here on The Hardline.